Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. This month here in the US, it's Black History Month. I'll be taking a look at the music of Duke Ellington, one of the greatest jazz composers, probably the most prolific with over 1,000 compositions, and also just so many chestnuts and standards that have just been handed down to us. There are at least half a dozen of his pieces that we play all the time. Today we're going to look at Satin Doll. Okay, here's Satin Doll on the screen, and it's in the key of C, but begins on the 2 chord of C, D minor. And it's a 2-5 pair, isn't it? D minor 7, G7. We'd expect the next chord to be C, but Ellington takes us up a step. We, functionally speaking, have now changed key. Right? So far we've sort of been in the key of C but not resolved to C, been in the key of D but not resolved to D. What's next? We're here, A minor 7, and another 2-5 pair in the key of G. Another 2-5 pair now here in the key of G flat. Oh man. So we didn't get to the C chord until measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At the end of the first ending, it turns around again. 2-5, G, 2-5, A7, 2-5 in the key of G, 2-5 in the key of G flat, and finally resolves to C. So when I look at a tune like this, I think, how do we solo over it? What kind of scales can I use? Well, I'm going to look for basically the Mixolydian type scales and the Lydian flat 7 scales that are associated with the 2-5 pairs. I don't want to go into it too much, but maybe one day we'll talk about how modes work that way. But just think about this. Ellington thinking to himself, yeah, I don't want to go home yet. I don't want to go home yet. Not yet. Oh yeah, finally, we got back to C. A very long arcing cycle to land at our target. It's not really even around the circle of fifths. Well, let's look at the bridge. The bridge begins after the second ending. Here's the second. I hate it when that happens. Here's the second ending, and the bridge begins here. G minor 7, C7. And the melody, just a scale. And of course, G minor 7 and C7 is a 2-5 pair in the key of F, and we resolve to F. Right? So straightforward. The next line, this one here, it's pretty obscure, but that's A minor 7 and a D7. This is what happens when you use PDFs. What key are we in? We're in the key of G. 2-5, D minor 7 here, and then E minor 7. Another 2-5 pair. Another 2-5 pair. And then the whole thing happens again. I want to show you how I voice these chords when I'm sort of just kind of comping if I have a bass player. The first chord pair is D minor 7 and G7. I'm building the D minor 7 voicing with a F in the bass, the third, and there is no D. D minor 7, G7. I'm only changing one note. The 7th of the minor 7 chord drops a half step to become the 3rd of the G7 chord. It's very efficient. I do the same thing when I go to E minor 7 and A7. Now check this out. A minor 7, D7 is next. This G is the 7th of A minor 7, so A minor 7, D7, the same thing down a half step. A flat minor 7, D flat 7, and then my C is a kind of a stack of fourths. We were talking about fourths just yesterday. That's root 6th, 9th, and I've added. All right, let's watch the whole thing happen again. There's no roots in any of those chord voicings. And the reason for it is simple. The most important notes in any functional harmony chord are the 3rd and the 7th. Those two tones, you noticed it was the 7th that changed to become the 3rd of the dominant chord every time. Those two tones give us the chord quality, whether it's minor or major, and the chord motion at the 7th. Ellington was a genius at this. All of his tunes leverage this basic rule of functional harmony. And this is functional harmony that comes out of 18th and 19th century Europe. The American music approach is to embrace those rules and, I'm not going to say subvert, but appropriate, make it their own. And in what is conventionally called jazz, that appropriation and that rethinking led to some of the best music, really, I think, that there is. Ellington's a shining example of this, and we're going to look at more Ellington tunes this month. I can't think of a better cat to analyze. Well, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll be notified when I post a new video. But for those of you who've been following, you probably know that it's just going to be tomorrow. I'll see you next time.